tonight is a true country boy who grew up in a home without running water, but never lost sight of what is possible. After being drafted in the 7th round by the Denver Broncos, Shannon Sharpe would harness his strength and discipline to redefine the position of tight end. He's an 8-time Pro Bowler, has over 800 career receptions, and is a 3-time Super Bowl champion. But before he became a Pro Football Hall of Famer, did you know he caught chickens for extra money as a kid? Was a high school state champion in the triple jump? Was originally drafted as a wide receiver. Tonight, we'll learn what makes this undeniable icon who he is. A man who once said, when people told me I'd never make it, I'd listen to the one person who said I could. Me. Please welcome.
This is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're going to be typing the iconic Shannon Sharpe. I absolutely love your content for Club Shay and what you do with Ocho Cinco at Nightcap. So today we're going to be typing you because we got a lot of people requested. I think Kevin requested this one. So we're going to be typing another one for Kevin. I mean, I feel like I'm a slave for Kevin at this point. But let's go see. We use Linda Barrens Interaction styles and temperament combined with cognitive functions. So this book and this book. So we use these two books combined with cognitive functions to find people's personality type. Highly recommend you check out those metrics. We'll be linking a link in the description so you can find anyone's personality type or your friends, family, co-workers, whatever you want to do. Find this personality types. We broke down all those metrics in the cognitive function. I'll be leaving a link for that. Even if you're blind, deaf, and dumb, man, you can figure these out. But let's go see what the monkeys over at Personality Database got. I mean, these people are retarded, okay? At this point, we believe they're smoking crack cocaine. It is what it is. They on crack. It's not hard to see, okay? So they have Shannon Sharpe as an ISFJ. Okay, so let's check our metrics over here because we have a handy dandy chart. Somebody asked if we want to go over the chart. I don't feel the need to really go over the chart. Maybe one day I'll just do a video just going over the chart or whatever. But I really don't feel the need to actually go over the chart. But ESFJs, okay, so they're informative. They're initiating. So initiating means extrovert. We have all these broken down in the video. I'll be leaving a link in the description. In like the comments. But they're informative. They're initiating. They're progression, process oriented, or movement focused. Okay. They're TIFE. They're SINE. They're also affiliative, so they're all about doing the right thing. Like the right thing is always number one to them. So that, like, even if they have a tool in their hand, they're gonna check with community. They're all about cooperation. Okay. As in pragmatic people, they're not gonna check in with the community or anything like that or cooperation. They're gonna do what works. Okay, so they can get slapped on the wrist for that. So we'll be looking at that metric very hardly because we don't believe that Shannon Sharpe is affiliative. That's a big stretch. So we'll be looking for that. Okay, they're also systematic. So they have a systematic approach to life. We break all these things down. But systematic basically means that, like, you essentially want to get control over your life. So you set like systems in perspective, or you look at the best way to do something. Those are going to be the things that you're going to be looking at, or implementing, like implementation and things like that. And then you have interest, like, what do I get out of a situation? What another person get out of a situation? I'm more comfortable when I know we both get out of a situation. Like we've had Christian outline that in one of our videos that, you know, he was dealing with people that are very systematic, me and my brother, and him being interest, you know, that threw us off when he talked about what he got out of a situation, and we're like, what the fuck? We never thought about this shit ever, okay? So you have those interest people. Then you have the global interest versus pragmatic interest. Global interest is what does everybody get out of it, and they can be pushing to make everybody get a good interest out of it. As in pragmatic interest is what the hell do I get out of it right now in this moment or close in this moment. Okay, so that's gonna be SP oriented. SFJs are also concrete. Okay, so that means they believe in the what is and not the what if. Okay, so we're gonna figure out what he is. Okay, and comment below what you think Shannon Sharpe is. We got a lot of people to type. I apologize. I took a little hiatus or anything like that, but comment below somebody you want type. I have a long ass list, not even gonna lie to you, so don't be upset if your person doesn't get typed because we have such a list. A lot of people, like Shelly, wants to choke the fuck out of me because we got to get these people on the channel. We got a lot of people on the channel. And we are still doing free typing sessions, and I do believe that we are the best at typing people, point blank period. I don't think anyone does what we do. We spend time, we listen to people, we actually care about our results, we review our results, we post our results, we are willing to communicate with our people afterwards to explain our reasoning. Basically, if you fucking message me, I'm gonna explain to you exactly why I believe the type that you are and why you're not the type that you're not. If you can see, like, the one guy, God damn, I can't even remember his fucking name, but the guy who thought he was an ENTP and who's a clear ENTJ, like, dude, I will fucking go to extreme miles to show you why you're not that type, because I actually care about, like, you as a person and where you're going in the future, and I care about, you know, our community as a person. Like, I want to have the most accurate people in our community. I care about that. And you're not going to get that with anybody else. And that's the reason why, you know, the leader, you know. I have a vision for what I see going forward for the type community, for us. And you join our community, a lot of things are going to change, you know, over time. Things are going to change over time. But I can always promise you this. You'll be better tomorrow than you are today, okay? I will always promise you that. And if you always need advice on anything when it comes to finances, women, money, anything in life, I'm always there for you, and you can always hit my inbox. I'm not running. I give you the best advice I have, okay? I've done a lot of things in life, so I'll give you the best advice I have. But let's get into this. And comment below what you think his type is. And if you want to be type bus, all you have to do is join our Facebook group or Discord. And subscribe to the channel and message our moderator Cody. He's in both the Discord or the Facebook, and he'll get back with our availability, and we'll get you tight, man. No need to fucking play around and run around, and, you know, some people charge $200, $300, $400, $500. We do it absolutely free. All we ask is that you stay with our group, you know, and comment and give us your insight afterwards. We appreciate that.
Welcome, the pride of Glenville, Georgia, Shannon Sharpe.
Thank you. Joe. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Thanks for being here. It's good to walk out to a standing ovation.
Thanks for having me.
Your story is absolutely incredible. It's hard for me to sit across from somebody and say, man, you really had not much as a kid, but that is truly where you came from, right?
It really is, but it was something that you didn't dwell on because everybody that I knew, my family members, had a life very similar to mine. So that was all you saw. That was all you knew. I just knew my body was in Glenville, but my mind was 1,000 miles away. I knew that wasn't what I was going to be when I got older.
You were born in 1968 in Chicago.
Okay, so he's saying that right there. That's SENI. Okay, that's more NI than anything. I knew where I was going to be, blah, blah, blah. I knew the path for myself. That's more NI, okay? He's looking at the path for himself, and he's coming off very direct, okay? So we're going to put an asterisk to the side of direct for Shannon Sharpe here. So we're direct and SENI. We'll put the asterisk side of it. We don't want to just jump down and say that he's direct. We're going to listen to a little bit more.
Chicago, youngest of three, and not long after that, you're shipped off to Georgia to grow up.
Well, my mom and dad had separated, and in the South, when parents separate, the grandparents take the kids. And my grandmother came and got me when I was 3 months old.
And it's fair to say you did not have a relationship with your father.
It's a long story, but my father died at 39, and all of his brothers, with the exception of one, died before the age of 50. And then on my mom's side, I had an aunt die at 47, and none of my uncles have reached the age of 70. So my grandfather died at like 57, 58.
So he's saying outcomes here. He's saying end products. Unfortunately, Shannon, we got to hit you for outcomes there, okay? He's listing outcomes of them. Like, okay, nobody lived this, nobody lived that. Outcomes.
So I think that's why I don't drink, that's why I don't smoke, and I try to maintain it because I know what's stacked against me, that longevity is really not in my family.
Tell me about your grandma, Mary.
SE. I saw what happened to them, and now I know what I'm gonna do. That's SENI, okay? He looked at the data that was in the present and predicted to the future. So we have SENI again.
Porter. I mean, this was an absolute saint walking the earth. I mean, what a wonderful, strong woman.
I don't know if I'll ever love a woman the way I loved her. As I said, she came and got me at 3 months. I slept with my grandmother in the very bed that she slept in until I was 15. I did not get out of the bed with her until my brother went to college. And so my grandfather, because my brother and my grandfather slept together, and when my grandfather passed, I was like, I'm staying in the bed with my grandmother.
Was he put his arm around you kind of a man? Was he an I love you boys kind of a guy? Or?
No, not really. You got a roof over your head? You got food in your stomach? I love you.
That's how he showed it.
That was his thought process. I don't remember my grandmother saying, but I just remember her doing. See, and that's kind of how I am, and I kind of fell into that trap, and I think that's what happened to a lot of my relationships as we go down the road, is that I'm a doer. And if I do something, I'm showing you that I love you, even though I'm not telling you. And some people are more verbal, they need to hear it. And, you know, my grandfather and them, what they were doing for me, you came and you raised your 9 kids and you took my mom's 3. You absolutely love me. You make sure I have clothes on my back, I got food on my stomach. Yeah, the roof leaks, but I know you love me.
Your brother, who I've gotten to know also, is one of the coolest, toughest, smartest, most driven people I've ever been around. So it's no coincidence that so were you. I know how close you were. Can you? That relationship with your brother was so special from an early age.
It really is, Joe. But it's almost like he's like my dad. We're 3 years apart and we're best friends. But I didn't view him as my brother. I looked at him as like my father, because my grandfather died. I was 8. My dad died, like I said, I was 13. And so really
he's direct, okay? So he's choosing this role in the conversation. It's very easy to understand what he's saying, and you can't misinterpret what Shannon Sharpe is saying here. So we're going to go ahead and hit him for direct, okay? He's directing the conversation. So that eliminates 8 types he can be, because he's not informative. He's not beating around the bush. He's not passive. He's not giving extra information. He's not wordy. He's not leaving it up to the atmosphere to pick it up. He's just stating how it is. So we got him for direct, okay? And a lot of times when you're typing, people just want to take like the number one thing you see off the board and just eliminate from there. You don't want to be like jumping down with some variables that you're unsure about. Take what you see and what you know 100% and eliminate from there. I know this guy's direct, okay? Now I'm gonna eliminate from there.
The most dominant male figure in my life was him. Joe, I'm gonna tell you the story, and this is how I knew my brother loved me. My brother loved me.
So he just initiated that, okay? So I'm gonna hit him for initiating.
We wake up one Saturday morning, cartoons. Back then, cartoons only came on Saturday, and we only had enough milk for one bowl of cereal. And my brother got up first, because normally whoever got up first, you know, that's who ate the cereal. My brother ate the cereal, but he didn't drink the milk, because he knew if he drank the milk, I wouldn't have any cereal. So he left the milk. He ate the cereal, left the milk, so I could have some. And that's when it really dawned on me. I was about 8 years old. I was like, yeah, that ain't no brother stuff. That's something a parent would do for a child.
Can you describe the home? I mean,
I'm not even gonna lie. My brother's an ENTP, and my brother has done very similar things for me in my life. There's a lot of times when like we would go to like tournaments for whatever we were doing. I don't want to disclose that information, but and we'd have enough money to eat for myself, or just eat for one person, and my brother would make sure that I ate. And that's the reason why I go back to it and I say, my brother channeled that suffering for himself. Like, he'd rather himself suffer than me suffer. And that's always been something that he's always been. I never understood that when I was a kid. It's like, what's wrong with this guy? Crazy thing is that I accepted it, and that's probably why my brother always says, he jokes around saying I'm a psychopath. Okay, he always jokes around and says I'm the closest person he's ever met to a psychopath. I mean,
it was humble. Let's put a good word to it, humble, but no running water, not a lot of food on the table.
Cinder block, cement floors, no paneling. no indoor plumbing, no running water. It was me, my brother, my sister. My sister had a special needs child, my 3 aunts, and my grandfather. Okay, my grandfather died, so sometimes it's anywhere between 7 to 10 of us. My grandmother's making $197
In that house?
In that house. My grandmother is making $197 every 2 weeks.
So you went to the woods. That's where you went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Middle of the night.
Middle of the night, middle of the day, or whenever you had to go. That's where you had to go. I did not take a shower until I went to 4-H. Well, I went to 4-H camp, I think at about the 4th or the 5th grade. That was the first time I took a shower. And I remember going and not knowing how to turn it on. So, I'm like, man. And I'm like, how can I play this? How can I play this off? And I was like, man, I don't think these showers work. And then one of the guys came in and said, well, you got to turn it like this. I just knew it was like, I know all my family lived like that. My cousins and aunts, they didn't have indoor plumbing either. And when I tell people that, people looking at me like, but you're not that old. Yeah, I didn't have indoor plumbing until 1988 when my brother went into the league. So from 68 to 88 to the woods I went.
You and Sterling used to catch chickens, and I can't believe the ratio of number of chickens caught to money paid to the Sharpe brothers to kind of wrangle these chickens. Talk us through that.
Well, we worked into the tobacco fields. So we worked from 7 to 7 with an hour for lunch, and we would eat lunch, and my brother and I and my cousins, we go play basketball. So we'd take us like 5-10 minutes to eat, and then we spend the next 30-40 minutes.
It's all SE. Oh, SE. And he's coming out very concrete. I'm put the ashes side of that. It's coming out very concrete with SENI and concrete and direct. We're looking at a SP.
And it's playing basketball until the guy would come back, and we get on the truck and we go back out there till like 6 or 7 o'clock that evening. And then about 8:30, my uncle would come pick us up, and we would go probably like 40 miles would probably the farthest we would go, and we would catch chickens. And you got paid $1 1,000. So you call it, so it'd be 8,000 to 16,000, 20,000 chicken between these two.
A night?
Yeah.
You're catching 8,000 chickens?
20,000 was the most we caught, yeah.
Which gave you $20.
Yeah. But plus the $10 to $15 that we made, so that was $45 a day. That was good money, but you were working, anywhere between 16, 18 hours a day. And even though you were in school, I was still catching chickens. My brother and I was catching chickens and getting up to go to school. So we get home probably 3:30, 4 o'clock, and we get right back up and go to school the next day at 7.
Is it fair to say that you always knew down in your soul that you were going to be somebody? I mean, at the age of 12, you promised your grandmother you were going to buy her a house.
Yeah.
Those are big dreams for somebody who didn't have much.
Joe, I only wanted to be 2 things in all my life. I wanted to be a professional athlete.
I only wanted to be a couple things. That's NI. So we're going to go ahead and knock them off for SENI, okay? I only wanted to be a couple things, so that's NI right there. But SENI on the loop. So we got direct SENI. So we're dealing with SP or NT, okay? We're dealing with SP or NT, and it's coming off concrete, but I don't want to put it on there. And Shannon Sharpe so far. He's talking about the what is, not the what if.
I wanted to be a lawyer, but I knew that would take me longer to make money doing that than it would be a professional athlete, and God gave me ability.
Okay, so he's talking about the pragmatic approach here, what works. For pragmatic, but both those types are pragmatic, and we already know that, so let's go ahead and knock that off. Both those NTs and SPs are both pragmatic, so let's go ahead and knock that off. They do what works, not like looking for cooperation. They're not looking at the buy-in for the group or anything like that. Okay, he's pragmatic. Okay.
He gave me I worked on a farm. I had muscles from the time I can remember. I think I was like 6 or 7 years old, and kids would look at me and like, he got muscles. And I did. I had
Well, you worked so hard.
I did. But I was driven, Joe. I had to. I didn't. And then I was in high school, and I said, Grant, I'm gonna make some money. I was 12 or 13. I said, Grant, I'm gonna have some money one day. What you want? Because she always called me. She called me baby. Because she never called me my name. She called me baby. She called me son. She called me boy. I said, Grant, what you want me to buy you? I said, you want me to buy you a car and teach you how to drive? She said, nah, son, I don't want no car. I said, well, Granny, what you want? She said, son, I want a decent house. I could lay on my bed in my grandmother's bed and I could see the sky through the roof because it was a tin roof. I could see. And I'm thinking to myself, my grandmother, she just want to go to bed. Before she died, she said she want to go to bed one night, have it rain, wake up and not be wet. Man, Joe, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, people don't know how many times I would fall on my knees at night. She would not let me get into bed without saying my prayers because she was in the front and I'd have to say my prayers and I'd have to cross over her to get into bed. Joe, I prayed a many a nights. High school. The only thing I wanted to do was make my granny proud.
And
that's it. That's
well said. Thank you. Thank you for
I'm getting a lot of FE with this guy. It's FE. We got a ESTP.
sharing that. I love when I read that even as a young boy, you used to stand in front of the mirror and practice talking into the mirror.
Yeah. I knew, giving an interview, asking myself tough questions, answering. I knew I was going to be something. I knew I was going to do something in front of the cameras. I knew I was going to be famous. And my grandma and the people used to ask me, say, yeah, I knew that boy. He talked too much not to be able to do something.
Right.
But my calling was to play in the National Football League. My calling was to help get my grandmother out of there. And me and my brother, that was all we talked about. My brother and I, believe it or not, we didn't do a whole lot of talking about girls growing up. We're 3 years apart. We didn't do a whole lot of talking about girls. Man, what you gonna do when you get some money?
So he just initiated that.
Yeah, Granny, you think Granny want to come live with us? No, she ain't gonna leave Glenville, but that was our thought process.
You got the chance to play with your brother, Sterling.
Yeah.
He was a senior
I was a
in
freshman.
high school. You were a freshman.
Yes, I was
So-
his backup.
You were his backup?
I was his backup. I always wanted to be like my brother, so whatever number he chose, I chose.
I always wanted to be like my brother, so I followed him, and
He was 3, I got number 3. He was number 2 in college, I got number 2 in college. He was 84, I was 84. And I played all the positions that he played because I wanted to be like him. You know, I played quarterback, played running back, linebacker, receiver. But it was my senior year, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a quarterback. I want to be a tight end.
What was it about tight end? I would think you'd want to be split out and run. And I mean, tight end involves blocking too.
But Ozzie Newsome and Kelly Winslow were tight ends. So
Right.
those are the guys I wanted to be like.
so he saw what they were, and he wanted to be the same way. That's SENI, hardcore. When you see stuff like that, that's hardcore SENI. When you see stuff like that, you automatically want to put somebody SENI.
And so I got moved to tight end. Had a lot of scholarship offers, but Prop 48, and I tell people all the time, I say, with my grades, I couldn't have got in prison.
Your grades were bad enough to keep you
With my
out
grades, I couldn't have gotten in the prison. That's self-deprecation. That's going to be FE.
of South Carolina, which
Yes.
is where your brother Sterling.
Correct. But them grades were bad, Joe. I look back, I was like,
Correct. T.I.
dang, I need a crane to pull my grades up.
Which you attacked
Yeah.
once you got to
I did.
Savannah State, but this is Division I AA.
It was Division II at the time.
So we're talking about if you're good enough,
Keep correcting the fuck out of him, T.I.
they'll find you.
Yeah.
But man, they're going to have to really
We're
look.
gonna have to look. Yeah, I remember stepping on Savannah State campus in 1986, and the very first thing I told him at that first day of practice, I said, I'm going to the NFL. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy.
I know my path forward. That's NI.
But Joe, we had probably 110 guys. We lined up 5 yards apart from one end zone to the other. And Coach Davis said, guys, I only got like 55 to 60 uniforms. He said, I got to trim the fat though. So we ran before we ever practiced. I'm talking about, we ran. You ought to heard the Foot Locker slamming and the cars cranking up, guys leaving. I ain't going. I said, this is nothing. I said, you think this? I was like, I'm only out here 3 hours a day. Yes, 100 degrees, but I work for 12 hours in 100 degrees. This is nothing. And that next day you had like 85, then 75, then 60, then 55, and that's what we went with. But
so if you could survive the running and the physical side of it, he was going to keep you, and these guys basically weeded themselves out.
Exactly. I almost transferred to the University of Miami after my sophomore year.
Yo, you should have came to the UM, boy. You should have came. That's my boy. That's why we love UM, baby.
I was going to say, Miami came calling, and our old friend Jimmy Johnson, and he saw Shannon and what Shannon Sharpe could do, but you stayed.
I stayed. Because Coach Davis told me, he said, son, you're good enough to play in the NFL. He didn't say, if you're good, they'll find you. And he believed in me. Everybody else, when my grades were bad and no one could get me, wanted to take a chance on me, Coach Davis believed in me, and I felt I owed that to him. And plus, Savannah was only an hour away from my grandmother, and I could get home at any given time to make sure I go see her.
Your
sound like interest there, buddy.
Senior year, you guys go 8-1.
8-1.
And you're setting records now, yardage records, touchdown records, and you've got to be thinking, okay, now it's time to go to the next level.
Yeah, I remember when the schedule came out, we're going to play Georgia Southern, and Georgia Southern was a power. They were 1AA champ. Irk Russell was their head coach. He was the defensive coordinator for the University of Georgia when they won the national championship with Herschel. And I remember seeing them on the schedule. Circle it. We're going to play them at their building. And that was the time, because everybody's like, well, yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's 1,000 yards and got this. But who he played against? And I just remember, I said, Georgia Southern. I said, ooh. I said, they don't even know. Now, I got a second cousin that played for Georgia Southern. His grandfather and my grandfather were brothers. And he played for Georgia Southern. And he was in film study, and they were watching. And he told the coach, he told the defensive coaching staff, he said, if you play my cousin like that, he'll hit you for 200 yards. Well, they played me like that, and I hit him for 202 yards.
Wow.
I did. We lost, and true story, after the end of the game, after the game was over, Irk Russell came to the rest of so he came.
So he's spitting outcomes or results here. He's not really talking about the process or anything. So we're gonna hit him for an outcome. You see outcome or results. People just keep spitting results. That's outcome.
To the center of the field, and he gave me a cigar. He said, son, you're the best athlete I've ever seen.
The opposing
coach. I still have that cigar.
Wait, I don't want to lose.
I'm gonna hit him for concrete, man. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Shannon. I gotta hit you for concrete. You're not really going outside of the norm here. I know your NI seems to be pretty well developed, but I gotta hit you for concrete. So with that being said, he is an SP. He's an STP. So we're gonna keep going. A little bit more outcome or initiating, and we're gonna call him an ESTP. Is what we thought he was.
Lose that in the applause. You still have the cigar?
I still have the cigar. I'm very sentimental.
What a thrill it must have been for your grandmother to see you play in your final game in college.
My final game.
I mean, I can't imagine you more driven, but if you know your grandma's there, what was that like?
That's the only time she's ever seen me play. Everybody's told her how great I was in high school. And to know my grandmother in the stands one time, because I didn't know if she was never going to see me play again. But I just remember walking out on the field because it was senior day and they introduced everybody, and just looking up there and seeing my grandmother in the stands. I was like, that might have been my greatest achievement. And when I came up,
See, he's talking about his achievements. It's always like other people focused. It's not for himself. He's people focused. His interests.
feel after the game was over,
An outcome.
and she'd say, "Baby, you did good." Man,
Well,
From TIFE too, you know. It is what it is. We already know he's STP.
your 7th round draft pick of the Denver Broncos. I know that was a disappointment.
very.
You thought you were higher. Heck, your brother went 7th overall to
did.
Green Bay when he got drafted.
Yes.
And now here you are, 7 being the lucky number, but it's round,
Right.
not overall.
Correct.
I
Correct.
assume, knowing you,
Correct. TI. Correct.
the little I do, that was motivation to show every wide receiver and tight end selected before you that you were better than them, and those teams made a mistake.
I remember when I got back from the All-Star game, I told my brother, I said, Spank, there ain't a wide receiver or tight end here better than me. I said, them guys not better than me. I went to the combine, and I ran like a 4.65, 4.66, something like that. I said, bro, they not better than me. I said, they not. I said, I understand they went to Michigan and Notre Dame and all. I said, but they not better than me. I'm better than you. Y'all got drafted before me? How? Why? I mean,
How? Why? Initiating here. Okay, outcome as well. Talking about results.
I was in shape. I'm abbed up. I got muscles everywhere. And I'm like, you went before me looking like, ooh.
Plus, you know the NFL game because you've been watching your brother play in the NFL game.
The thing was, Joe, is that I always my favorite superhero was the Incredible Hulk. I always wanted to be big. I wanted to be the Incredible Hulk. I wanted
You want to
muscle.
be like the Hulk, SCNI, that's more NI.
And so I started lifting. And my brother would always tell me, say, bruh, you're going to lift yourself into a 3-point stance. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Which means he goes from a skilled position to the offensive or defensive line.
But I wanted to be a guy that could bench 400 pounds and squat 600.
This is what I wanted, NI.
He's like, but there are no receivers that can do that. Why do you want to do that? Well, that gave me even more motivation to want to do it because nobody else is doing it. And when Dan Reeves, my rookie year, says all the tight ends got hurt. All the guys got hurt. And everybody's thinking that Dan's going to go out and sign a tight end. Well, the offense is really complicated, and Dan didn't feel like he could, get a tight end up to speed in time. So
Dan felt like FE.
So Dan called me in and said, well, what do you think about playing tight end? My first words out of my mouth, I'm going to get a chance to play. He's like, yeah, but you're going to have to learn. I was like, okay, I'll do it. They moved me to tight end. John's going through I'm on the line of scrimmage. John's going through the play.
Elway.
John Elway. He's going through the plays. I'm like, hold up, time out. What I got again? So obviously I'm having a hard time learning it. So they put me in motion. So every time I go past John Elway, John would tell me what I got. You got to block the end. Blue 17. Block the end. Blue 17.
No way.
Yeah. Run a corner. Run a out. He's telling me the whole game. He told me what I had to do. They put me in motion. I'm dog tired. And I know he's tired because he got 100 things in mind. He got to tell me what I got to do. He got to read the defense. He got to worry about somebody trying to hit me in the back of his head. So we win the game. And so I'm walking up the field, and I can see him walking up at the corner of my eye, and he just tell me, say, I think we need to learn the plays next week. Yeah, I say, I think you're right.
Right, but you had a great relationship with John.
Unbelievable.
And there was something there that, he could have embarrassed you.
Yes.
He could have ripped you in front of the rest of the team.
Could have.
But he needed you.
I don't know what it is about me, but it was just something that he just kind of like, he liked me.
By 1992, you break out. And the world knows how good Shannon Sharpe always knew how good he was. And you become Elway's #1 target.
I did.
There's a relationship there, though, that we can't miss. And that's your relationship with head coach Dan Reeves. He's the guy that called you when you were drafted.
Yep.
He was a player himself.
Yep.
He believed in you like Coach Davis believed in you at Savannah State.
Correct.
And I guarantee, knowing you the way I know you, if somebody believes in you like that, they're golden.
They are. He told me I could be special. He said, you're too big, too fast, too strong. not to play this game for a long time.
Then there's pressure there with this great organization that had been to the big game but had not won.
Yeah, it was. It was what happened in 1990 when I got drafted. They had just gotten the brakes beat off them by the 49ers in the Super Bowl 55-10. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a Super Bowl team. So we going back. The next year we go like 5-11 or 6-10. And I'm like, what happened? I thought y'all just went to the Super Bowl. Is it me?
Right.
The next year we go to the AFC Championship game. We lose to Buffalo 10-7. I'm like, okay, we're building something. And then the next year we were really good, but then John got hurt. And then Coach Reeves left and at the end of the 92 season, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I just made the Pro Bowl. What if they get somebody in here that doesn't use the tight end? Because still everybody...
You should abstract that. What if? In for one.
Was still wanted that tight end that can move people off the ball. Running, bring your running game, play defense. Nobody was thinking about if a tight end caught 25, 30 passes, so be it. And so Wade Phillips, who's the defensive coordinator, got hired, and he brought in Jim Fossil. And one of the things that Wade told him says, tell me what you're going to do with Shannon Sharpe. How are you going to use him? And I became the focal point.
That's how Jim got hired?
Yep.
How he was going to use you.
Yep. Now, the offense is going to be catered to what I do, which was get down the field, find a mismatch, put me outside, linebacker, safety, could beat some corners, and John was going to give me the ball. It was great. It was great. So now people are starting to see. My brother, 100 catch. He had a 100 catch season in '92. Had another 100 catch season, and the crowning achievement is that we're both going to the Pro Bowl.
How cool is that?
Man.
You two
It's all come.
are competitors against each other in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, these two Sharpe brothers, one kind of dad and one kind of son, are in Hawaii for the Pro Bowl. That's awesome.
Well, Joe, I was feeling really good about myself, and so I bet my brother $25,000 I'd have more catches than he would.
Wait a minute. Now, times have changed now.
Just looking at the outcome, the results again. I bet him $25,000.
There's no more eating possum here. You bet your brother how much?
I bet him $25,000 I'd have more catches than he would.
And your brother's like all pro.
Yeah. I ended up with 81. He ended up with 112. So.
Did you write the check?
No, Joe. I wasn't gonna be able to do that. I wasn't gonna be able to do that. But I had to do something. I had to put some pressure on myself. And look, I know I wasn't gonna. I thought I could. I mean, that was John's fault.
Right. Yeah.
But I wanted to issue a challenge to him, and I wanted a reason. To show up to work, go to work every day with that lunch pail and hard hat, because I had a goal. It wasn't to just because I wanted to be what he was. He was an all-pro.
Yeah, I wanted to be what he was. Outcome again.
He was a Pro Bowl player. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an all-pro. And to be on the all-pro team and to be in the Pro Bowl with your brother, not very many people can say that.
So Shanahan comes in. How important is winning a Super Bowl to you?
I can't wait to type Mike Shanahan. He's going to be an interesting guy. We got to get Bill Belichick and him on the channel. I have this theory that a lot of the coaches that are really good are actually INTJs, and they're just using humans like chess pieces here, okay? They're just using humans like chess pieces. We've typed Nick Saban, INTJ. I believe Bill Belichick is INTJ. And I believe Mike Shanahan is an INTJ. So that would be great to see if I'm actually right.
Well, I felt that's what would separate me from some of the other guys. I had established myself as a preeminent tight end. And when Mike came in, Mike says, I can throw you 100. Shannon, he's like, you can catch 100 balls, no problem, but we're not going to win. He says, I need you to block more and probably worry less about catching passes. He says, now, if you can't do that, we're going to have to find somebody that can. Well, since you put it like that, I think I could do it.
Yeah.
I think that'll be okay with me.
End of discussion, boy.
And
But you were a good fit for that scheme, right?
Yeah.
That zone blocking scheme.
It didn't require me to try to move a 280-pound man. Just do enough to get TD to the line of scrimmage. TD would do the rest. That was my job. And that's the thing that a coach has to do. A coach has to be understanding enough. Some guys you can kick in the butt.
We got him as ESTP. I got Shannon Sharpe, ESTP. We'll listen to him to make sure that we got that right. Okay, so ESTPs are initiating. Okay, they're extroverted. A lot of them actually think they're introverted, but it is what it is. They're outcome focused, so they're talking about the results, the end product. They have a focus on the end product, not a focus on the step by step of how to get there. Like when they think about things, they don't look about the steps. They look at the end product first. Well, I tell a lot of people about myself, like when I look at something, the first thing that comes to my mind is the end product. Okay, and as Linda Barrens said, you have a focus to do one or the other. Like the first thing you look at. My first focus to always look at the end product. Okay, a lot of times the people will say that we try to control things, as in like progression types look at the process of things and how to get there, or they like continuous movement to get there. We made a video about this. Highly recommend you check that out. But yeah, we got Shannon Sharpe is initiating concrete interests. So he's looking at the motives. He's not talking about systems or implementation or how you got control of anything. He's pragmatic, so he believes in like a utilitarian mindset. He's not talking about cooperation, anything like that. He's talking about just basically what works. He's direct, he's specific, concise, to the point. And we already talked about outcome. He's SENI. He's talking about what he wants. He's talking about what other people are doing. He's not talking from a first person perspective. He's not talking about what other people want and things like that. And he's TIFE. Okay. It's more of the understanding function, whether it be understanding people's feelings or understanding things in general. TI is understanding things in general. FE is understanding other people's feelings and emotions and empathy and things like that. So we have him as an ESTP. I'm going to go to say that Shannon Sharpe is above average. Okay. And I'm going to say he's a 3W2, really. So let's go ahead and hit him for what we think he is. I think he's ESTP. It's weird. I see like a lot of fucking tight ends as ESTP. I don't know what it is. ESTP. I think we type Travis Kelsey, ESTP. ESTP, we believe he's, I'm going to say AA for above average. I will say him as a E. Oh, I got to hit him for Dario Nardi's thing. I say he's a dominant ESTP. Dominant. Dom. I don't think he's regular. I think he's Dom. Dominant. Like Dario Nardi has dominant, harmonizing, creative, and normalizing. Okay, so you fit into one of those metrics. Myself, I am a dominant ENTJ. So people who have dominant are people who are more based off hormone levels, will be more testosterone based. Okay, so ESTP, we got him for above average. Dominant, I'm gonna hit him for 3W2. I see a 3 from him. I see an achiever from him. 3W2, and I'm gonna hit him with social / sexual for Shannon Sharpe here. And comment below what you thought his type was. Comment below what you thought his what you rating or anything like that. Yeah, I got him for SOXX. Got him for 3W2. I got him for dominant. I got him for above average. It's an absolute pleasure to see Shannon Sharpe. I love this guy. I love his content. If he ever watches this or anything, man, keep doing what you're doing. We love you, man. But this is Mongolian Mindset, and we are out.